1. You have 9 minutes. That's it. 9 minutes before the world shifts. Before your chance either slips by or explodes into something you never imagined possible. I didn't come here to waste time. I came here because time is the only currency that matters, and right now, you still have some left. I want you to understand something. Most people wait. They wait for the perfect plan, the perfect moment, the perfect sign. But the truth is, perfection is the disguise of fear. The world doesn't reward hesitation. It rewards motion. Action. The raw courage to start when everything looks impossible. Do you know why I say 9 minutes? Because 9 minutes is short enough to make you feel the urgency but long enough to make a choice. You could scroll, doubt, or keep doing what you've always done, or you could decide to become the kind of person who acts before the world tells them what's possible. When I started SpaceX, people laughed. Not softly. They laughed loudly, publicly. They said, "You can't compete with NASA. You can't build rockets cheaper, faster, safer." They were right, at the time. But what they didn't realize is that I wasn't betting on what was possible. I was betting on what could be. I was betting on the human spirit, on stubbornness, on persistence that looks crazy until it changes history. So when I tell you this, that the next 9 minutes matter, I mean it. Because every massive shift in my life began in moments that looked ordinary to everyone else. The moment I sold my car to keep PayPal alive. The moment I stood in a rocket hangar wondering if I just lost everything. The moment I hit launch knowing it might all explode, literally and metaphorically. Those moments are where your life actually happens. You want a better life. You want freedom, control, meaning. Then understand, it will never arrive as a polite invitation. It'll arrive disguised as chaos, risk, doubt. And you'll have maybe 9 minutes, if that, to decide whether you're running toward it or away from it. I've seen brilliant people paralyzed by their own thinking. They overanalyze, overplan, overtalk, and underact. Meanwhile, the world moves on. The people who win are not the ones who knew the most, they're the ones who moved first. The ones who took the step when it wasn't guaranteed. When I built Tesla, I didn't have certainty. I had conviction. Conviction that the future had to be electric. That it was insane to keep burning fuel like cavemen in a digital world. But I didn't wait for someone to approve that vision, I acted. Even when it nearly broke me. Even when we were days away from bankruptcy, most people think success is about ideas. It's not. It's about endurance. It's about how many times you can get hit and keep going. How many times you can be wrong and still wake up and try again. I've been wrong, a lot. But being wrong isn't failure. Quitting is, so I'll ask you right now, where in your life have you been waiting too long? Where have you been playing small? What dream have you convinced yourself is not the right time for? Because the truth is, it will never be the right time. The right time is when you decide it is. The right time is now. You don't need everyone's approval. You don't even need all the answers. You need courage, and a reason that makes fear irrelevant. I've learned that when your mission is strong enough, fear doesn't disappear, it just becomes background noise. You still hear it, but it no longer controls you. That's how rockets get built. That's how revolutions happen. That's how your life changes, one unreasonable decision at a time, so take a breath. Look around. This is your moment, your own 9-minute window. You don't need to be me. You don't need billions or engineers or investors. You need one thing, the decision to stop letting your potential rot in the comfort zone. Every single person who has ever changed the world had one thing in common: they started before they were ready. You think I was ready to risk everything on SpaceX? I wasn't. You think I was ready to face ridicule when I said we'd make electric cars cool? I wasn't. But readiness is a myth. Courage is a choice. In these next minutes, I want you to imagine your life as a rocket, grounded, fueled, waiting. The countdown has already begun. The engines are humming. The window for launch is closing. The question is, will you stay on the ground because it's safer, or will you light the engines and find out who you really are? You don't need permission to start. You just need the guts to begin. 2. You're still here. That already tells me something. Most people quit halfway through the message. They scroll, they glance, they move on. But you stayed. That's not random. That's the signal, the kind of signal every great journey begins with. I want to talk about fear. Because that's the real enemy. Not failure, fear. Fear is silent, sophisticated, patient. It whispers reasons, it builds logic, it convinces you to stay comfortable. It tells you, wait a little longer. Learn a little more. Plan a little better. But do you know what's behind those words? Paralysis. Every time you delay, the opportunity fades. Every time you rationalize, someone else acts. Fear doesn't kill dreams instantly, it kills them slowly. Quietly, while you tell yourself you're being smart. When I was building rockets, fear was always there. The fear of losing everything. The fear of public failure. The fear of watching years of work explode in seconds. You can't escape fear, but you can decide how to use it. That's what separates builders from talkers. Builders use fear as fuel. Talkers use it as an excuse. You think courage feels good. It doesn't. It feels like chaos. It feels like standing on the edge of something vast and knowing one wrong step can destroy everything. That's courage, not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward anyway. I remember one of the early SpaceX launches. We'd already failed twice. Millions lost. Critics laughing. Reporters waiting for another explosion. I walked out to the launch pad, and the silence was heavy. You could feel the weight of expectation pressing against the steel. I looked at that rocket, tall, cold, defiant, and I thought, if this fails, we're done. There wasn't a backup plan. There wasn't another round of funding. Everything we had was in that rocket. That's what commitment looks like. It launched. It didn't explode. That one success changed everything. People see the launch and call it luck. But what they didn't see were the 20-hour days, the nights I slept in the factory, the weeks without knowing if payroll could clear. So when I say the next 9 minutes matter, I mean it. Because the distance between your dream and your reality is one decision away. One launch. One moment of courage. You see, everyone wants to change their life, but no one wants to burn the old version of themselves to the ground. You can't build the future with the same habits that built your past. You must be willing to destroy who you were to become who you can be, and that's the hardest part. Letting go of comfort, approval, predictability. Letting go of the version of you that plays small to keep others comfortable. You don't owe anyone your mediocrity. You owe the world your greatness. Most people underestimate what they can do in a decade and overestimate what they can do in a day. But if you start today, and I mean really start, you can become unrecognizable in a few years. You don't need to move mountains overnight. You just need to take relentless, unreasonable, obsessed action toward your vision. Small steps, every single day. When I built Tesla, the goal wasn't make a car. The goal was change what people believe cars can be. When I built SpaceX, the goal wasn't launch rockets. The goal was make humanity multiplanetary. You see, the difference between the ordinary and the extraordinary isn't luck or talent, it's scale of vision. It's the refusal to think small, so ask yourself right now, what's your rocket? What's that idea, that vision? That obsession that's been burning quietly inside you? Maybe you've ignored it because people said it's unrealistic. Maybe you told yourself it's too late. But I'm here to tell you, the clock hasn't run out. You still have time. If you start moving now, you don't need to have all the answers. You just need momentum. Momentum turns uncertainty into opportunity. When we were days away from Tesla's collapse, I could have walked away. I had enough money to retire forever. But I didn't start any of this to be comfortable. I started because comfort is death to ambition. That's what I want you to understand. Your comfort zone isn't safety, it's a cage. It's invisible, but it locks you in routines that slowly kill your potential. Every time you say, "I'll do it later," the bars get stronger. Every time you say, "I'm not ready," the walls get higher. But here's the good news: cages are built by thoughts, and thoughts can change in seconds. That's why I said 9 minutes. Because you can change your entire direction in that short time. If you're still here, you're already proving something to yourself, that you're not content to be ordinary. You're ready to stretch, to risk, to build. That spark you feel, that's potential, but it needs fire, so light it. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for applause. Don't wait for guarantees. Start building, start creating, start doing. Because when you move, life responds. Every movement forward attracts new energy, new people, new possibilities. When you act with conviction, the world rearranges itself to meet you halfway. You think I had it all figured out? No. I still don't. But I act fast, learn faster, and never stop. That's the real secret, so here's your mission: in the next 9 minutes, make one decision that scares you. Send the message. Start the project. Commit to the goal. Delete the distractions. Make a move. The world doesn't belong to those who wait. It belongs to those who decide. 3. Let's talk about obsession. Because if you're going to do something that actually matters, not something convenient, not something trendy, but something that changes the game, you need to be obsessed. I've seen people talk about work-life balance like it's the Holy Grail. That's fine if you want ordinary results. But if you want to build something extraordinary, you can't treat your dream like a hobby. You have to let it consume you, at least for a while. When I say obsession, I don't mean burnout. I mean alignment. The kind of focus where your actions, thoughts, and time all orbit one mission. Everything else becomes noise. When I was building Tesla, people told me to rest. They said I was crazy, that I was risking everything. Maybe I was. But if you think you can create a revolution without risk, you've misunderstood the nature of progress. Every single breakthrough in history was born from someone obsessed enough to ignore the noise. You see, obsession isn't unhealthy when it's purpose-driven. It's unhealthy when it's aimless. But if your obsession is building something that moves humanity forward, then it's not madness, it's responsibility. There's this strange myth that successful people have some secret shortcut. The truth? The only shortcut is commitment longer than most people can endure. People see the results, not the nights I slept on factory floors. They see the headlines, not the anxiety, not the doubt, not the exhaustion. They see rockets rise. They don't see the failures that came before. Let me tell you something: resilience isn't something you're born with. It's something you build by refusing to break. Every failure trains your mind. Every setback adds steel to your spine. Every insult becomes energy. That's why I say failure is not the opposite of success, it's the forge that shapes it. When I started SpaceX, we failed 3 times in a row. 3 rockets. 3 explosions. Hundreds of millions of dollars gone. The media called it a disaster. Investors ran. Friends questioned my sanity. And I questioned it too. But on the 4th launch, we succeeded. And that single moment erased years of doubt. Do you understand what that means? 3 failures didn't define me. The 4th attempt did. The only reason that 4th attempt existed was because I didn't quit after the 3rd. That's what resilience looks like, staying when it hurts, when no one believes, when even you start to wonder if you've lost your mind. But that's the thing, you can't build greatness without losing your mind a little. The world is too addicted to safety to understand visionaries, so if they call you crazy, good. That's the signal you're on to something real. The future doesn't get built by those who conform. It gets built by those who refuse to accept that the impossible stays impossible. Every time someone told me something couldn't be done, I smiled. Because impossible is just the label people use when they run out of imagination. You have to protect your imagination like a sacred flame. Because the world will try to blow it out. People will tell you to be realistic. But realistic is just another word for average. I don't want you to be realistic. I want you to be relentless. When I talk about building a multiplanetary future, it's not because I think Earth isn't enough. It's because I believe in expansion. Growth. The human instinct to push beyond limits. That same instinct lives in you. You were born to build, explore, create, stretch reality until it bends to your will. But here's the truth most people won't tell you: greatness costs everything. It will test you, isolate you, and demand sacrifices you never thought you'd make. But in that pain, you'll discover something priceless: who you actually are. When you're pushed beyond comfort, you find clarity. You stop pretending. You realize what really matters. That's when you evolve. Resilience isn't built in calm waters. It's forged in storms, and when you survive those storms, you become unshakable. So, when people doubt you, thank them. Their disbelief is your fuel. When things collapse, rebuild. When you fall, stand. Every time you rise, you teach the universe that you cannot be broken. That's power, not external, but internal. The kind of power that doesn't come from titles or money, but from indestructible conviction. You want to know the real difference between winners and spectators? It's not luck. It's not even intelligence. It's persistence. The refusal to surrender when logic says you should. When I was sleeping on the floor of the Tesla factory, covered in dust and grease, I didn't feel like a billionaire. I felt like a man trying to solve a problem that mattered. That's all success is: solving meaningful problems with unreasonable consistency. If you want to change your life, stop running from discomfort. Chase it. It's the fastest teacher you'll ever have. Pressure creates diamonds, but only if you don't crack. So don't hide from failure. Don't hide from struggle. Don't hide from pain. These are the tools that build you into someone capable of handling success when it arrives. The reason most people never make it isn't because they don't have the skill. It's because they can't survive the waiting. Success takes longer than you think. It demands more than you planned. But if you keep going, if you keep showing up, it becomes inevitable. So right now, I want you to remember this: every great story sounds impossible at the beginning. And if your dream sounds crazy, congratulations, you're exactly where you should be. The question is, will you endure long enough for the world to catch up to your vision?